Good day everyone, I'm Marshall the Scent Addict. Thank you so much for being here with me today on YouTube. Before we get started, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, do whatever you need to do to make sure you don't miss any future related content here on my channel. Today we're going to continue our deep dive into the Moudon fragrances. Today's fragrance is called Glorious. Stick around, let's talk about it. Welcome back. So Glorious is one of 9 new fragrances from the House of Moudon. 3 of the 9 new fragrances come in this black bottle. The other 6 bottles are part of the Noir collection, and they look like this. Glass bottle, dark fluid, kind of a silver and gold sticker. Bottles have Moudon etched here at the bottom. And I also should mention, be careful when spraying fragrances with dark fluid, especially on clothing. They might stain. Atomizer check. It's a good atomizer, and that's a strong fragrance. It fills a room. Power. Whew. But before we dive too deep into the fragrance, let's take a look at the box. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Inside the box, you have this tissue paper with the Moudon logo. Behind it, the bottle with a hard foam base that keeps the bottle safe. It looks nice, and if you like to keep your fragrances in boxes, these look really nice on the shelf. Really nice presentation. This fragrance reminds me of why I love Moudon so much. Again, they have 20 fragrances, and while I don't love them all equally, I appreciate the variety and diversity they have in the house. Some are mass appealing, easy to wear, others are much more challenging. But again, all of them are done very well. They're straight to parfum concentration, which means there's a lot of fragrance oil in them. And they use top level ingredients that helps with performance, projection, longevity, as well as quality of scent. No matter your taste, I can all but guarantee they have one fragrance that you will enjoy. And again, Glorious is not only one of the more challenging of the new 9, it's one of the more challenging out of all 20. Let's look at the notes. Top notes, Alabama and saffron. Heart notes, caramel and lily of the valley. Base notes, ambrosinide, sorry, I cannot pronounce that. Sandalwood, musk, patchouli, gaiac wood, cypriol, and labdanum. So how does it smell? The leather is not mentioned here. This does have labdanum, which gives it an ambery, leathery foundation. There's a lightly spicy fruitiness from the Alabama in the opening, with a bit of smokiness. Now there is just a hint of a dense sweetness in the heart of this thing from the caramel. Again, it's barely there, but what is there is dense. It's so hard to explain and so well done. I'm not a big caramel fan in fragrances. I normally do not like caramel as a note in my fragrances, mainly because it is overdone. It is usually syrupy, sweet, and that's just something that doesn't work on me. Here, it's done very well. I love the caramel note in this because it is barely there. It's subtle, it's not heavy-handed. And again, it's just there to give the other smoky or leathery notes a little bit of sweetness, to make it a little bit more appealing. I love how the caramel is blended in this fragrance. Moudon Glorious is deep, it's unique, and it's incredibly interesting. I have many leather fragrances. I like leather fragrances, but I don't have anything like this. As I've said before, any fragrance house that has 20 plus fragrances, you're gonna find some similarities with other popular fragrances. And Moudon is really no different. But again, I don't have another leather fragrance like this. But I will say that this is not a safe blind buy. Just because I really enjoy this fragrance doesn't mean you'll really enjoy this fragrance. Like most niche leather fragrances, some will find this pretty challenging. This is not a beginner's leather fragrance. Glorious is high quality niche perfumery. And for those that do have a nose for higher end niche leathery fragrances that are both deep and complex, but also wearable, I think this one might be for you. Glorious is best worn in the fall and winter. It's an evening fragrance. I can see this being worn with a black tie or even a black leather jacket. It has a primal animalic sex appeal to it that makes this stuff very sexy if you're okay with smoky leathery fragrances. And once again, that's a big if. All Moudon fragrances are unisex. I do believe this does lean masculine. Performance is outstanding. It projected at least 3 hours on my skin. And after 10 or 11 hours on skin, I stopped counting. It has great longevity. I will tell you, just between you and me, Glorious is one of my favorite Moudon fragrances. It's not something that I can see myself talking about too much because I don't want people to run out and blind buy it. It is not a safe blind buy. Again, Glorious is not for everyone, but for those that do have more sophisticated noses with an affection for leather fragrances, this is probably, once again, for you. It's certainly for me. And once again, this is the reason I love Moudon fragrances. They can put out something so easy to wear, something that is such a compliment getter, and then they can put out something like this, something that challenges you, something that I think about the entire time I'm wearing. In my humble opinion, Moudon Glorious is in fact glorious. I will say that Moudon sent me all these fragrances for review. That in no way changes my opinion on any of these fragrances. I feel how I feel about them, and I am completely honest with you. If it leans feminine, I will tell you. If it's not for me, I'll tell you. If I love it and want to wear it all the time, I'll tell you that too. And Moudon Glorious is for me. Thank you so much, Moudon and Fragrance Lord, for sending me these fragrances. I'm Marshall the Scent Addict. Come back and see me tomorrow.